Hey, what's up, everyone? Sean here with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Hope you all are doing pretty well, as well as I. I wanted to take some time in this video to address something that kind of came to me a little bit more deeper here recently. And for those of you that follow me on the secondary kind of like live auction site, whatnot, I sell on there. Have a show on Friday, by the way. You should go check it out. I got my link down below. You sign up today, you get $15 off your first item. Pretty cool stuff. It's awesome. I've been selling more original bank wrapped rolls, older, newer, different dates, and it got me to thinking: what makes these things so ridiculously desired today? And I thought about it. I'm like, well, what exactly is in the original bank wrap roll? Is it just a roll? Is it what's inside? And I got to thinking a little bit deeper. Well, it's more than that. It's kind of, in a way, an investment. Um, and we have to take into consideration that as time goes by, the years go on by, things like that, that these things are disappearing off the market. Whether owners of these rolls that think they just have something that's not very extraordinary, they're cracking these open, sending them off to the bank. Or they're keeping it in the roll and just go ahead and depositing them to the bank. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot. That's like 98% of the people out there don't realize the power potential of original bank wrap rolls. Now, it's not just the old stuff. This is a 1972 S OBW roll. It's not about these, all right? This is not the only thing out there that's like exploding in the market. And we'll talk about why the 72S is one of those roll dates that just kind of out of nowhere became a top 5 most valuable Lincoln Memorial date, to blow your guys' mind. But newer rolls too. We're kind of in a weird year this year. Coin production across the board is getting less and less. Is this a sign of things to come? Is the government going to make a power play to eventually remove something out of our circulating coinage? A lot of the talk has been nickels. Nickels, I guess, is kind of realistically today, the way that they're made, the one only lone true, I guess, coin that whenever you receive it, it's worth more than what the face value is. It's like 6.5, 7 cents is what the true value, based off of the composition alone, in those coins. All right, which kind of makes it strange because I talked to a dealer and he said, if the big opportunity here is to go to the bank and just continuously buy boxes of nickels. For every $100 face that you earn, you end up making what he said, like $35 based off of the metallic composition alone. I was like, wow, but that's a lot of hoarding, It's a lot of weight. You stack these things up in the garage, they're very cumbersome, they're large, and I'm like, I get it. The same way that people like to hoard copper sets pre-82. And then we got to thinking a little bit deeper. I'm like, hey, did you see how much the 2024 dated nickels are going for? And then we got into this whole other conversation. Philadelphia rolls are going for between $60 and $80. Denver rolls, $80 to $100. And what really skewed this number compared to years past is simply a switch on the wall at the U.S. Mint. Whoever the powers that be decided we're going to produce less coins because there's just an overabundance of this stuff. I think more people are kind of leaning toward the digital side of payment services. i.e., the 98% that we had talked about earlier in the show. Yeah, they've really changed. They flipped the knob on the wall. They're like, we're going to produce less of all the coins across the board. And guess what? There's actually two coins that are backbreaking to the overall profit machine is cents and nickels. So the first thing they did was, okay, we understand that, nickels are very expensive to produce. So we're going to start there. And that's why the mintages of 2024 nickels is sitting right around 30 to 35 million. It's not a lot. It's actually less than 2009. Remember 2009? That was a Great Recession kind of like starting point. Right? People aren't using money, physical money, so we're going to ratchet back the production. And sure, they sure did. Nickels and dimes became the two denominations that they ratcheted back, and because of that, the nickels, both P and D, they had mintages under 40 million, which made them kind of like a modern key date. However, here we are in 2024, no less than 15 years ago, and then now these 2024 nickels have already bursted onto the scene. We have roughly a month and 10 days remaining in this year, and guess what? The mint is starting to produce the end of year program stuff. The silver premium set, they're beginning to do 2025 Silver Eagles, which they normally kind of kickstart right around this time every year. But they're really setting up the sales to the vendors, and that's why right out of the gate there's already brand new 2025 Silver Eagles, both raw and graded, available within like the first week or two of the year, is because the advanced production of those. So there's going to be absolutely no room whatsoever for newer nickel production. Consider it done. Someone had said, well, there's probably a whole bunch of them that were already made. I'm like, yeah, but that would have went to the number already. All right. So even if they produced a bunch of nickels and they kept them at the Fed Reserve vaults, that still counts toward the number. It really doesn't make any difference. And then from here, it's just kind of like a domino effect across the industry, across the hobby, regarding bankrolls. Bankrolls, to some, are just, it's just bulk. Talk to most dealers, and they're really 50-50 on OBW rolls, older ones. They'll look at things like this and say, oh yeah, we buy these for about $2 a piece. And I'm thinking to myself, well, they probably don't care to sell them for $3 a piece as long as they make a little bit of profit, but you better buy every single roll. And, that's what I did. Come to find out, 72S is one of the big chasers. And the reason why that is, ladies and gentlemen, is because September 1st, if I'm not mistaken, on Great Collections, 1972S became the world record holder in the finest grade, highest priced singular date. It's a pop one, as you can imagine. There would be no 2 or 3, especially at the price that they sold it for. $21,300 for a 72S. There was no other regular dated coin that compares. We're not talking about varieties. The 69S sure has beaten that one out of the water. But as far as a non-variety, non-error coin, 72S is the most expensive today. So we kind of handled one of the things that makes this particular market so investable. At a grassroots level, a lot of these can be attained at face value. You can go to the bank today, and this is the only way it's going to work, is if you get full date bankrolls, sealed, they call it BU, brilliant uncirculated rolls of a singular date. Go to the bank and look for those 2024 nickel rolls and just sit on them. If we're predicting the lowest mintage since 2009, then those particular rolls are going to have a massive ROI in the future. And not only that, All the other denominations, especially Lincoln Cents, has a massive ROI. We call this, and this is a terminology that I adopted a while ago, called sealed equity. It's a thing in the sports card and trading card game world. Like Pokemon and Magic the Gathering. You have this booster box or full box, hobby box of cards that you never opened. All right. And you were probably, I'm just going to throw out a number, you probably originally paid $150 for the thing. And as time goes by, maybe there's a few rookies or something that have, kind of matured and have really stamped their way into the market, into people's hearts. And that original hobby box that you paid $150 for in 5 years probably is worth $500 or more. Shohei Ohtani, right? Los Angeles Dodgers superstar. 2018 hobby boxes of any MLB that has him in there is so ridiculously expensive. You're going to easily spend for a generic base line hobby box $500 to $1,000. So that's what they call sealed equity. Keep it closed, keep it unopened. And that's where you're going to realize the biggest rate of return, ROI, ladies and gentlemen. Original bank wrap rolls. You buy them today for 50 cents on the dollar, okay, at face value. Keep them in the roll. If you're lucky enough to buy full bank boxes of 2024 Lincolns, it's going to be underproduced, by the way, by a little bit. And just hold on to them. Buy 3-4 boxes. They're only $25 face, but you could envision, based off of a regular rate of return, that in about a year, they're going to be $50 a box. In 5 years, they're going to be $100 a box. In 10 years, they're going to be anywhere from $200 to $250 a box. What really affects the change in the future expected value, or ROI, on some of these is what you could find in them. So let's talk about it. So the 2024 is a given. It's just a low mintage circulating coin. We go back to a couple other different coins that have been found, especially this year. There's a big double to die, probably one of the biggest in the last 15 years, that was discovered on the Dr. Mary Edwards Walker quarter on a Philadelphia coin. Now, a traditional bankroll of that coin is $10 face. But this is such a big chaser coin that in a year from now, those rolls could be $25 a roll. In 5 years, they could be $80 to $100 a roll. Get the big picture? So if something significant was found in these rolls, whether it's a die variety or an error, it also bumps up that kind of like curve of return when it's continuously going up. It's like just for the regular stuff, it's just an okay kind of regular hill. But the errors and varieties really jostles it to that way it goes up. It's more of a scary bike ramp than anything else. And that's something that, if we're in tune to the market and we have the ability to obtain these rolls, why wouldn't you? Even if, for example, you decided just to get a few rolls of quarters here, a few rolls of pennies there, and you just sit on them. I had 2018 OBW rolls that I have just ignored. I ended up selling every single one of those rolls for $8 a piece. I had like 30 of them. And they're Denver's too. I wouldn't say they're exactly the most desirable, but they have a pretty neat DDO on there that was discovered a number of years ago. And I just had some extras. $8 a roll. Okay, and that wasn't my number. Someone actually came up to me and said, hey, I'm going to pay you $8 a roll for those because I wanted to look for the doubled ears. I was like, oh, okay. You know, and this was after I was like kind of doing some maintenance, some cleanup. And I'm like, good God, I just made $250 off of 30 loose rolls of 2018 Lincoln cents. And that, my friends, is the ROI, the magical power of the OBW roll. And God knows what else you find in these. I sold a whole bunch. I actually sold, and it wasn't even that spectacular, and the people knew it. I sold a whole bunch of 1982 large date zinc rolls out of an original bank box that had spots on them and stuff, but there were still a few good coins in there. I was selling lots of 5 for like 15, 20 bucks, you know? And they made over $1 billion of that date, so it's very plentiful. You kind of need to do your homework and find out which dates are desirable, the ones that they produce to death. And anything from the modern era, where it's this copper-plated zinc composition, is something to be wary about. Okay, especially anything from the 80s, pre 1988, I would say. 82 to 88, very dicey. But if you did come across, for example, and this is like a lightning in a bottle, is a full bank box of 1982D small date zincs, I would probably invest in that. Because that's the year where they did the mistaken transitional variety that they made some in copper, because there is no 1982D small date copper in existence. But that would be the box that you would go through to find one of those. So that's why I wanted to talk about original bank wrap rolls. Have a ton of possibilities. Most people don't think about it other than, oh, I'm going to go to the bank and buy these. The sentiment on OBW rolls right out of the bank is, I open it up and like, ugh, you know, I got like a bunch of new coins that really doesn't have anything going for it. But we've seen that things have changed. People have changed their overall outlook on these. And as a result, the market for OBW rolls has been ticking upwards. Hasn't been an eventual explosion? Sure, on a few dates. I think the whole underproduction of 2024 coinage these days has really exacerbated that to the point where now we're beginning to pay more attention to these. You know, and I usually do these videos, not financial advice, but this is probably the one that, if I were to say would be sound financial advice, is to buy some. I'm not telling you guys to buy the old stuff. The old stuff's like disappearing right off the map. There's like not a whole lot left remaining out there for OBW rolls, you know, of the last like 25, 30 years and prior. But please do be known and aware that there's a whole world of potential. If you're kind of feeling stagnant in this hobby, or maybe you're collecting something else like sports cards, and it's like, man, the boxes are way too expensive, I want to get into something different. Invest in OBW rolls. One last thing before I let you guys go. I had kind of like a realizing moment, because I came across what was the rarest roll that I've ever had. OBW, 1940S OBW roll of Washington quarters. And I knew it was expensive because I've seen 1940 Philly rolls sell for quite a bit of money. $800 to $1,000 just for the P mints, but they made a whole bunch more of the P mints than they did the S mints. There has been no public record of a 1940S roll that has ever sold within the last 20 years. I had one. I sold it. And there was a moment of regret after I sold it, because I think I sold it for too cheap. And I did. I actually had a couple dealer friends of mine that specialized in some of the more scarce, earlier full date rolls of any other denomination. I believe I sold the roll for like $1,200. Whatnot, came to find out it's worth 2.5 times that. Because the individual coins sell for anywhere from $60 to $80 because it's a tougher date. But that's kind of more or less a educational moment for me. That could have been better. Sure, I could have made more money, but um, it went to a good home, and it just again it provides a lot of utility to the possibility of OBW roles. It's like you can't go wrong. It's a money making thing. It's a get rich in time kind of proposition. This is something that you can't really leverage to do power plays for you right away. It's something that has to sit and marinate over the course of I would say on average like 5 years on a lot of the newer stuff. So that's why I want to talk about. Sorry to keeping it so wordy and non descriptive as far as like photos and all that stuff. But yeah, jump on it. The bandwagon is starting to inch its way to the promised land with OBW roles, and I think more and more people are realizing that. Okay, no thanks to 2024 coinage, which has really, really, really smacked people silly with their high prices. Is it justified? Kind of is because people are paying the money for it. It's not just one person; it's many multiples of people seeing kind of light at the end of the tunnel for those. All right, well, I'm out of here. You guys have a good time with the hobby. Always keep on collecting, my friends. Again, not financial advice, right? I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silver Round. You guys take care. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.